Take 4. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for doing this interview with me. Our information is confidential that we talk about. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've lived in Kirksville all my life, and I am married, and I have 2 children. They're adult children now. I have a 27-year-old and a 23-year-old that just graduated from Truman, so I'm pretty proud of that. And then I have an 8-year-old son, and I work at the Early Childhood Learning Center for the Kirksville R3 School District. I've been there for 15 years.
Oh, okay, awesome. What ages do you work with here?
I have the mobile infant room. It used to be when I first started, I had the 1 and 2-year-old room and did teen teaching, but now I have my own classroom with the mobile infants.
Oh, okay. What are your goals for your classroom?
Well, I would say I have several. I would say probably on the forefront, the most important I would say would be to provide a safe, loving, secure, healthy environment for the children.
Mm-hmm.
That's always ongoing. That's really an important one. And then also to provide activities that are developmentally appropriate for the children. We work a lot on social, emotional, so that's one of my goals, is always to find activities and fun things to encourage that with the children. And also to look at the children individually to see what their individual needs are on a daily basis. And 2, I would say to build a good relationship with the families, because I really truly feel like that if you don't have that good relationship with a family, you never get to the innermost of the child. So I work really hard. That's always one of my goals.
Okay. And how do you communicate with families?
We do, there's a building newsletter that goes out once a month, but then individual teachers put out their own newsletters. So I do like a monthly newsletter. I'm really lucky in the fact that I get to visit with the parents every morning during drop-off and sometimes during pickup too. So I really form a good relationship that way with the parents. And then we do a lot of extra stuff, like every couple months, every 3 months we have, sometimes it's once a month, we have like family involvement activities. And so this last month we did a trip to the park. It was like after school hours, which was really fun. So it's kind of like a little field trip. And we did a trip to the park and had ice cream, and then it was like a play date. So,
fun.
Yeah.
Do you do parent-teacher conferences?
We do. We do them twice a year. We have some early Head Start children in our program, and so with those children, we kind of follow their conference guidelines, which is about 4 times a year.
Okay. Now you work with 1-year-olds, and I know 1-year-olds like to bite. How do you handle biting in your classroom?
Well, biting is a pretty typical behavior for that age group. And so, first of all, if a biting incident happens, the first thing I would do would be to go and take care of the child that was bitten. That is the first thing that you want to do, make sure that it's safe and comfort, because that can be a scary, scary thing to have happen. And then I basically just kind of assess the situation. Since it is typical behavior, if it just happens like once, I'm not really that concerned about it. I'm going to look around to see, though, why the child did that. A lot of the times at this age, it's simply basically them just getting into each other's spaces. They don't like to share, they just, they're so egocentric, it's all about themselves and things. A lot of the times it's because they don't have good words, they don't have the language yet. Sometimes they're just teething and they need a teether. So I kind of assess the situation. I might make notes on when it happens, like the times, so I can see if there's some sort of correlation, going on there. And then sometimes, unfortunately, you do have to talk to the parent about it. Of course, you want to talk to the parent right away that got, the child that got bit. But yeah, and kind of make sure that the parent is on the same page, using the same kind of language that we do at school. Seems like a small thing, but really it's kind of a major thing. If they're saying things like, we say like, be safe with your friends, teeth are not for biting people, you know, here's you a teether to bite, you know, food, we can bite food, and maybe read some storybooks about it, things like that.
Oh, well, it sounds like you guys have a good plan in action in your classroom. Let's see. What is your favorite thing about working with children?
Well, I think it's just very rewarding to know that I'm kind of helping in their development. You know, this early years are really important. Their brain's developing, and it's important that they have a safe and secure environment, and I provide that for them, and so that makes me feel really good. And I think also being understanding to them, and so I just really feel good that I know that I'm helping them. And they may be really little right now, but I know every bit counts, and it also helps them when they're an adult. You know, studies show that if you are in a thriving, loving environment when you're little, that it will actually make a difference in adulthood.
What do you like to do outside of work for fun?
Well, family is at the top of my list. I've always been a person who likes to spend time with my family. I like to go shopping a lot, reading, and I like to read. I like to keep up on current events, and then I like to read like self-improvement books, things along, just really kind of any kind of literature, I guess, but those are my kind of favorites. And I have an 8-year-old grandson, so we really like to go to the park and hang out a lot together, read together. I like to cook a lot. I like nature, so I like to walk and hike and things like that.
Where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
Well, I'm not getting any younger. So I'm getting to the age where I'm actually thinking like retirement. So possibly, I don't think that I will ever quit. But something with my job, it is kind of a taxing job. And I would say really within the last year, I kind of noticed a difference just in how I feel when I go home. So I don't know, 5 or 10 years I might actually not retire. I'd like to retire from this job, but I may not be able to. I may spread my wings a little bit, but the perfect job I think would be like a parent educator, or maybe just helping out teachers that need some ideas and help, because I think sometimes it's not that they just don't really know how to do it. And I think really I've had so many years of experience that and I'm always looking for ways to improve, but I just sometimes I see teachers struggling, and if they could just do it a little differently, you know, just kind of open up the light to them a little bit, that would be a fun job. I don't know if I'll ever have that job, but that would be really fun.
That would be a great job to have. Well, that is all the questions I have for you. I'd like to thank you again for doing this interview with me and letting me record it.
It's quite all right.